Says it's streaming. Let's just wait a minute because it still shows as preparing on this end here. And I'd rather not cut it off. Can always cut it out if I need to. Okay, awesome. All right. Oh, wait. Hold on 1 minute. Um, okay. All right. Welcome. All right. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining me today. I keep hearing background, so hold on 1 minute. Sorry about that. I keep hearing it. Okay. Now we can go. I'll just cut all that out. Anyway, welcome. Thanks everyone for joining me today. If you don't know me, my name is Renee Roberts, and I'm a longevity and functional genomics coach specializing in nutrition, sleep, stress management, and clinical hypnosis. So I harness the power of DNA testing to create a personalized lifestyle plan that plays to your genetic strengths and optimizes your health and extends your lifespan. And I would also like to introduce you to my guest today, Angela Wilson. Angela is an international best-selling author, captivating speaker, and founder of Angela Unlimited. She's dedicated to empowering women to live a life rich in every aspect, and her work and personal journey reflect a deep commitment to helping women to find their authentic voice and embrace an unlimited life. And today, Angela is here to talk about whole wealth and how it impacts you. So welcome, Angela. Thanks for joining me today. It's exciting to
Oh,
be here.
thanks for having me, Renee. I'm really excited to have the conversation with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about whole wealth. What does that actually mean when you say whole wealth?
So, whole wealth really means about living every aspect of your life wealthy. So, of course, when people hear the word wealth, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Money, finances. That's and that is a huge part. We need money to finance our lives. That's one aspect. But it's also having wealth in your health. So, what you do to help people that enhances their life. It's wealth in their relationships. And then one of the most important relationships we have is with ourselves. And yet that's one of the relationships we don't cultivate a lot. And it's also wealth in spirituality. And here's the other side of this. That's just like the kind of top big buckets, but it's also because we're all unique individuals, wealth is going to be defined for each of us from our own values. So when I work with women, it's all about what is it that's most important to you? And then we go from there because there may be other aspects that just feed their soul so much.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, that's awesome. Cool. So how did you actually start this kind of work? How did you get here? I'm assuming you have a backstory as well.
Well, I think we all have backstories
You
on how we
do. You
get
do.
to where we are.
Yeah,
And so,
absolutely.
yeah, and so mine is, and I always say this, we come into this world as these amazing little beings that are completely unlimited. And then we take on stories throughout our lives, we buy into the social constructs, all of that stuff, and we start limiting ourselves and we start dimming our light. That's not what we're here to do. We're not supposed to dim our lights. We're supposed to live out loud and to live as the best version of ourselves, unlimited life, right? And so for me, it was that, a sparkly little 3-year-old, knew no limits. I was, doing my thing. And then I heard time and time again, stop doing that. Stop talking so much. Stop using your voice. Little girls are supposed to be seen and not heard, blah, blah, blah. And then, I get into school and what have you, and I start getting told that I'm not good at things. And I mean like everything. And also being told again, stop using my voice. And it really, for me, the way I heard all of the messages, I internalized them that being me was not okay. I had to change. I couldn't be me if I was going to fit in with everyone, if I was going to have friends, if I was going to have people that love me. Like, obviously, I had to change, I had to morph myself. And so I took that on. And again, this doesn't happen in a snippet, it happens over time. But then, fast forward, then I was in a very unhealthy, toxic relationship. And I completely lost my voice in that I didn't talk. And I questioned everything that I did. And so I was a designated accountant. And I had my own accounting practice. And I kept waiting for my clients. I kept waiting for them to go, huh, you're not smart enough. We'll get someone else. So not true. I had a very successful accounting practice. And, but these are the stories that go on in your head. And so I work with a lot of ladies that are, they're very successful in their businesses, their careers. And yet inside, they're still telling themselves they're not worthy or there's more to life. There's so many stories that go on, and it's time to live by our own stories and no one else's. So jump ahead a little bit again, and that relationship, thank goodness it ended. And please don't get me wrong, I do not regret any part of any of this because it brought me to where I am. And where I am today is amazing. I'm living the life that I've been creating for the past several years. And I'm doing things like this, being out talking on with you, with other people, and really trying to get that message out there. It's time to be all of who we're meant to be and to live as that, live full out and stop buying into everyone else's stories and live by our own story.
Very cool. Very cool. So what are some tips and tricks you can recommend for those of us that feel we don't have a voice, or that I've been there too. It's like especially if you get into a big room or you're into a position or job or an area of your life that you're not comfortable in. And I think we all have that voice in our head that says you're not good enough, and it's like, well, how do you what would you tell people, or what would you tell someone to say, where do we start? What's a good way to start to get out of that rut or whatever you want to call it?
Yeah. A great way to start is start paying attention to the language that you're using. Because lots of times those languages, so they, as you said, the story, what goes on in our head, right? That I call it inner chatter. Lots of people call it the egoic voice, monkey mind, whatever. I call it inner chatter because that's what works for me. And it's really about, when we start paying attention and being aware of what that's really saying and stopping ourselves and going, just a minute, I would never, ever talk to a dear friend like that. Why am I talking to myself like that? So it's about really becoming aware of what you're saying and the words that you're using. Because if you're using negative words, and lots of us do because we're not paying attention, when you're using negative words, that pulls you down. And it just perpetuates it because what we focus on, we get more of. So more of that comes in, more of that comes in. But if you can stop yourself, and it's great. The other thing that I would say, it's fantastic to be in community with other amazing people, because what ends up happening is then that pulls you forward because you're like, oh, you get excited, and it just brings out the best part of you. And it's also allows us to see the evidence of where things are really working for us. As particularly as women, we tend to collect evidence on how things are not working. And that's kind of our go-to when something happens. It's like, oh, okay, well, look at this doesn't work, and this doesn't work, and this doesn't work. Really collect the evidence of how far you've actually come and all the things that you've done. Because now you can draw on that and go, oh, okay, this is just a blip. It's just a blip in the road. Let's go. And it's interesting, a cute analogy that goes along with this is I was talking with a client, and she was going, oh, what are all these messy bits? And we were having this conversation. I said, well, life is always going to have messy. Like we cannot do life without messy. And all of a sudden they went, oh, this is what it is. I said, it's like when you go to a stream and there's these great big rocks and you start jumping off on the rocks and you go from this one to this one because your path is rarely is your path ever straight. You're gonna go like this. And so it's like jumping on the rocks, and then all of a sudden your one foot slips and it goes into the river. Well, your foot is now soaking wet. That's the messy bit. So you have a choice. You can either get angry and stay on that rock with your foot in the water and stay blocked there, or you can take your foot out and go, oh, well, I don't really want to do that again. Off we go while it dries. And that's how we move forward. And I would say the other key thing is really invest in yourself with mentors. Like that's for me when I was really coming through, and when I was really coming through my dark time, I it was the very first time I ever invested in mentors, coaches. Absolutely was the best thing, and I still do today, because you know what, we're still up leveling. We're up leveling every single day.
Absolutely. And it's good to have that support around you as well. And I think you're right. We need coaches, we need mentors, we need friends, we need family, we need everybody in order to support us and to get rid of that little judge in our head that says you can't do it, or it's the, negative Nelly or whatever, whatever you call. I've heard it called the itty bitty shitty committee. It's like I've heard all kinds of little inner voices, names for those. So yeah, absolutely. And yeah, it's so easy to live in your head, I find.
Yeah.
I
Well, and I think too, it's important when you're starting to really decide to use your voice, because our voices are powerful and they're meant to be out there in the world. And so it's when you're really going, I'm going to do this. Start with trusted people. Because if you start just, with it within everyone, then you're going to get some of that judgment back at you. And so start in a safe space. That's why I say find community that's safe, that is a safe space. There's lots of it.
Yeah, for sure. And I think we thrive in those types of places. I've also heard, be with people that you want to be like, or you want to aspire to, or that give off the same energy that you want to have. Because I truly believe, like, yeah, exactly
Yeah.
what you said, what we attract, do we want to be the crap magnet or do we want to be something else? Mm,
Yeah.
exactly. So how long does it actually, like when you work with people, if somebody comes to you and needs help kind of getting unstuck, getting more balanced, how long does it normally take on average for somebody to kind of get out of that?
Well, it depends kind of answer, to be honest, because it depends on the level of commitment that the person has, and how open and willing they are to change. Because it's about choosing ourselves, and I can walk beside you and I can be of guidance, but I can't do it for you. And so it does come down to the level of how much do you desire to change, and how much do you want to create the life that you're here to truly live. So, some people will come in and do a 6-week program because that's all that that's all right now that is comfortable for them to do. Other ladies, no, no, no. I want a year-long one-on-one with you because I'm ready and I want this to change. And that's what happens. And it really depends, it depends on what kind of transformation you're looking for. I'm not a quick fix. There are no quick fixes in this world. That's again one of those social things that are out there, not true.
Yeah.
You
You
know?
can't just take a pill
Well,
and
no,
make it
because
all better.
exactly. Well, it didn't, you know what? It didn't take this long to take on all of those stories and all of those things. It took this long, so you can't expect it to take this long for it to change either.
Mm,
And
yeah.
and so I'm completely transparent about a lot of things in my life. And it's even things like I've done a lot of work. And one of the big mindset shifts for a lot of people is around money. Because money's a tough thing to talk about for a lot of people. And yet, for myself, I thought my mindset was pretty good. I was thinking, yeah, this is one area that I'm pretty good in now. I was just in a workshop about a month ago. We started talking about mindset, and didn't one of those old stories that was back there come flying to the forefront. I'm not smart enough to handle money. And I was like, oh, where did that come from? That's why I say this is a journey, and it's about being courageous and stepping up and going, okay, these are the steps I'm going to take now. These are the next steps I'm going to take. And have somebody along beside you to really reflect back when you forget who you are and what courage you have.
And you need to be ready to, I think. I
Yeah.
think with any change, any transformation, you need to have that right mindset. And we help with that. But you need to go into the conversation with the idea that yes, I am willing to change, because it's not always easy to
Yeah.
change either.
Yeah.
So interesting. I don't know if have you ever read the book The Untethered Soul by Michael A.
Oh,
Singer?
yes, I have. I love that
I'm
book.
reading it. I know I have all his books. I'm currently going through them, but it's interesting the way you were talking. It's very similar to what he says in The Untethered Soul, is that, we kind of go through life and we have things that will go through us and then things that latch on to us.
Mhm.
And just like you said, that little nitpick thing that came back for you about money, you're not smart enough or, to handle money. It's one of those things that grabbed onto our soul and stayed there and then resurfaced at a later point in life.
Yeah.
And it takes time and persistence to get rid of all those little nitpicky things that have grabbed on to your heart, to your soul,
Mhm.
that, so you can actually deal with it and let it go, let it pass through. So I loved his analogy, as that, doing that, because I think that's one of the things that happens. We live in our heads a lot, and yeah, I've had that issue. I've had anxiety issues in the past where I spin stories.
Mhm.
Something will happen and I'll spin a story
Mhm.
in my head and I'll go to the full conclusion. And that story never happened. It's just like, and I'm mad at somebody
Yep.
because they did something that they never did.
Yeah.
They did it in my head. And it took a long time to get out of that mindset, to say, okay, stop spinning the story. Stop thinking about what they're thinking of you. You don't know what they're thinking. You don't know what they're doing. They're not
Yeah.
here. Whatever it is, right? It's just
Absolutely. Yeah.
so, yeah, it's a huge shift for
It is.
sure.
It is a huge shift. And it's even that, even those things, and in today's society, like everything's instant, 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 right? So
Yeah.
you pick up your phone and you send somebody a text and they don't answer right away. And you're like, oh, well, they must be mad at me. Or I must have done something. And these are things that go through our head. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, maybe they were just busy. Maybe they were having a bad day and they just didn't want to talk to anyone. And it's okay. And I think that that's one of the real keys about, living like a whole wealthy life is getting to that spot where it's like, be the best version of you. Let everyone else be the best version of them. Because what ends up happening is this beautiful mix of genius that interlinks and comes together. But when we're trying to manage ourselves and manage everybody else, it just gets too frenetic. And then nobody's happy. You
Yeah.
can't live as the best version of yourself when you're in that mode, that mindset. So the more that you can bring peace and joy into your life, and that's why I said about, the positive language, it's going to lift you up. Be around people that lift you up. It's interesting. I just last week heard an analogy of thoroughbreds run faster and better with other thoroughbreds.
Really?
And it's because they have the same energy, the same cadence. So I love when you said, you know, be around those people that inspire you. Be around
Mhm.
those people that you're going, you know what, that's the direction I want to go. It may be a completely different direction when you get there because it'll be way better than what you even thought now. But
Mhm.
it's that if you hang around the people that some people call them energy suck. I don't, it's one of those like that bring your energy down or bring the energy in a room down. If you're around those people too much, what's going to happen to your energy? It's going to drop. It's going to drop. It's not what we're here for. We're here to be us and live our lives fully.
Yeah, absolutely. So, do you have any advice for somebody that may be going through this and gets in a moment? Like, what if somebody's stuck in that and they come out, they realize they're like, okay, I'm in this moment now. Do you have any words of wisdom to say, okay, how do I get myself out of this right now? Like if I'm stuck in this moment or, is there?
Yeah, I do. So for what I do and what I, recommend with my clients and what have you is have what I call touch points or little triggers for in your mind so that when you get into a situation, so I have on my desk, I have a rock. And this rock is granite. It's from the Canadian Shield. And so its energy is spectacular. It's strong. It's been around for like years, tons and tons of years. I can't even tell you how many years. This is where I grew up. So this for me is a symbol of strength and courage. And so I have it on my desk. And if I get into a conversation where things are just and I just pick it up. And it reminds me, just a minute, there's another way of being. I don't have to go there. I can stay as myself. Another great way is, and I use this one myself, and I know others who use it, is if one of those thoughts come flying in, all of a sudden, and you just do the stop, no. And actually, what ended up happening, and this was just recently, the Bruno Mars song, stop, wait a minute, and then it goes on. That
Yeah.
popped into my head. So now every time I have one of those like thoughts that are just, what is that? I do that. Stop. Wait a minute. It's find what works for you because it does exactly what you just did. It makes me laugh. And,
Yes.
and then it's gone. And because now you can be that, now you can go, okay, that was just no, that's not me. And sometimes if your inner chatter is like really super loud, stop, turn the volume down. Make a conscious decision to turn the volume down. Because you get to choose whether you listen to it or not. It is our choice. And I would say that's the biggest thing is really deciding to choose. Because deciding to stay where you are, that's a choice as well.
It's true. We all have that choice
Yeah.
and we choose to be happy, sad, mad.
Mhm.
We choose what we think. Absolutely. That's a great way to think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know you have some things coming up that I want to let you talk about, but I don't want to. Is there anything else that you want that we haven't discussed that you think would be very helpful information for our listeners?
I think the biggest thing is, really, as I said, you get to choose and you get to choose you and how you live your life and where you live in your life. And what I mean by where you live in your life is, are you putting everybody else before yourself? And it goes back to the relationship you have with yourself. If you aren't in a spot where you love yourself and aren't choosing yourself, it's pretty hard to give to other people. And, we're taught, especially as women, put everybody else first. And by the time you get there, if you still have some in the reserve tank, then that's good. Because if you don't do that, you're selfish. The most unselfish thing that you can do is to choose you. And that's regardless of whether you're a woman or a man. Choose you and come at it from that beautiful spot of all of you because now you can really give as your authentic self and give from your heart. And when we're doing that, that allows other people to start doing the same thing again if they choose, because again, everyone has that choice. But the more you stand up and be yourself, it gives others the space if they choose to do it as well. And I think I just believe in all of us lifting each other up. And, I don't believe in competition from the standpoint of there is more than enough in this world for everyone. if we choose to see it that way. If we
Absolutely.
choose to see it the other way, yeah, you're right there too. There isn't. But again, because it's whatever you focus on, that's what comes back to you. So I would just say, dive in. If you think that there's more to life, there is. So, invest in yourself. If you're ready to make that choice and you're willing to step out of your comfort zone, go for it because there's some amazing stuff waiting for you.
Yeah. And it's an investment, but I don't think we invest in ourselves enough, really,
No, no, we don't.
for anything, for our life in general, for our health. We tend to let that stuff go. Yeah, we'll spend
Mhm.
money on a new phone or anything, but it's like when it comes to
Yeah,
ourselves, yeah, we do. I like that. I like that idea. Be more selfish and allow yourself
yeah.
this
Yeah. Well, and
opportunity
it's,
to really.
with what you do, like that's so important for people. And yet again, it's that one of those things people hesitate to invest in
Yeah,
themselves.
exactly. Exactly. But in the end, you come out a lot farther along, a lot better off,
Mhm.
especially when it's a mindset thing. And I will say, when I first got into into nutrition, I started off as a nutrition coach, and I was all focused on health. And then I learned about, mindset, and I realized how entwined that is with anything that you learn. You need to have the right mindset. So
Absolutely.
important, no matter what you do. If you want a transition in life or transformation in life, you need to have that mindset shift in order for
Yeah.
it to stick
Yeah.
and work out for you. So I think that's very important. And I think people like you who focus on that are needed.
Thank
So
you.
yeah. Um, so how I know you have some things coming up. You have something coming up this month, right? Workshop, or
Yes, I
is it?
do. I have a masterclass that I'm offering. It's actually a free masterclass and it's called Finding Your Voice. Sorry, I just blanked there for just a second. And so there's three dates, three times that people can join me for that. And that's yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. Actually, the very first one is today at 6 p.m. So that's one, and then there's one on I believe it's the 13th, and then the 21st. And both of those are at 3 p.m. And you can find those on my website.
Which I will put in the notes of this show. But and yeah, if you come on and you're listening to this after the fact, you can always go to Angela's website and find out the latest and greatest of things that are happening. You also have a retreat coming up as well.
I do, which I'm really excited about. So we're doing a 2-day retreat in the lovely Niagara area of Ontario. And it is called Expand into Your Future. And the ladies that join us are in for a real treat. We're going to be diving into whole wealth in a huge way, and also looking at what is it that you would like your next chapter to look like, and have some amazing action steps to take when you leave. In our retreats in the past, the transformations that the ladies have had have been really, it just it tickles my heart to see them go, oh my gosh, this is so great. And I know that that's going to happen again too. So we're really looking forward to that. And that information will be on our website very shortly. However, you can always reach out to me and I'd be happy to get you to have a conversation if that's something that you would like to do and get you on the list now.
Yeah, and I highly recommend, if you've never gone to a retreat before, we talked about it today. Align yourself with people with the same mindset, the same goals. That's the that's the big thing about a retreat. That's one of the big benefits, is that everybody there is marching towards the same goal, the same transformation within themselves. So that's awesome.
The
Very
other the
exciting.
other thing with a retreat is it also what it does is it takes you out of your day to day and gives you that break that you can actually focus and be fully in so that you
Awesome.
can have that transformation and you don't have all the distractions around you. So it's really beneficial that way too.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. So yeah, I'll put that information. I'll put the link to your social media and your
That's
website in the notes here. That way people can reach out to you as
great.
well.
I
So
love it.
how exciting. Yeah,
I
I really
know.
appreciate you joining me today.
Oh, I'm so
Um,
happy to be here.
Yeah, yeah. So I look forward to hearing about anything future coming up. Definitely keep us up to date, and I look forward to hearing from you again.
Oh,
So
that's so fantastic. Thanks, Renee. This was amazing, and I'm so happy to have been able to share with your network.
yes, thank you.